人のね、生活保護になんか不妊治療させるとか、まずこれはマジ論外なんだけど、日本で子供をね、産めるようにするのをやめたい。子供がなんかガンガンできてさ、もうとんでもない数になっちゃうよ。もう日本乗っ取られますよ、本当に。
って思ってる市民がそれだけいたということでしょうね。非常に多くのその外国人に対しての悩みというのは声も聞くし、メールでも届くし、こんな状況でなんで日本人がね、毎日頑張って働いて、なけなしのお金でから払ってる税金をそんな外国人のためにね、これ単純に腹立ちませんって、自分たちが頑張って働いたね、税金で。
Concerns like these are being discussed more openly than ever in Japan. Today, I want to speak directly with Japanese citizens and with foreign residents who are working towards permanent residence. This should not be a conversation between Japanese people on one side and foreigners on the other. We live in the same communities, we experience many of the same pressures, and we all have an interest in Japan remaining safe and stable. Japan also has legitimate concerns involving tourism, crime, property, and cultural friction. The question is not whether those concerns are real. The question is whether stricter permanent residence rules target the people and behavior actually creating them. One last comment before I get into the details. The Japanese government is currently accepting public comments on its proposed revision to the permanent residence guidelines. This is an official opportunity for Japanese citizens and affected residents to tell the government whether they support the proposal, oppose it, or believe specific parts should be changed before the September deadline. I will provide the official government link in the description so that after hearing the evidence, you can read the proposal and submit your own opinion. The government has proposed increasing the fee payable when permanent residence is granted. So the current fee is 10,000 yen per person. The proposed fee is 200,000 yen per person, 20 times the current amount. 200,000 yen for one applicant, 400,000 yen for a couple, 800,000 yen for a family of 4. Comparison, 800,000 yen is about 10% of the median annual income of Japanese households with children. That's the equivalent of an entire monthly household paycheck and a quarter of the next. That comparison is before you think about taxes, rent, food, education, childcare, or other necessities. To the residence confirmation fee going up, the residence renewal fee is also rising.
一番ニュースになっているのはこれです。在留資格の更新料が今6000円なんですけれども、5年の在留資格を更新する場合、7万円ぐらいになる予定なんです。私はこれを聞いたときに、率直に値上げしすぎじゃないかと思いました。急に6000円から7万円ぐらいの予定って、もうゼロが一つ増えてるじゃないですか。そこにも驚きましたし、在留資格って家族の人数分かかりますよね。私だったら子供がいるので、子供の人数分かかる。自分も含め子供の人数分。となると、ねえ、7× 家族の人数なので、1ヶ月の夫の給料が全部更新料でなくなってしまう家庭っていっぱいいらっしゃると思うんですよね。さすがに急に値上げをしすぎなんじゃないかなと思いました。政府の説明では、アメリカやイギリスと大体同じ金額にするということなんです。確かに他の国ではもともとそれぐらいの更新料を取っているみたいなんですよね。日本って給料がアメリカやイギリスと同じだけもらえるかって言ったらそうじゃないと思うんですよ。例えば英語の先生として日本に来てくださっている方、1年目の給料月28万、約28万だとして、額は欧米と同じ。だけど、給料は日本のまま。ここが私が一番心が痛むところです。
Government officials, this may be described as administrative fees for the benefits of permanent residents. But for ordinary families, 800,000 yen can represent months of food, rent, education, childcare, or savings. The government's own calculations estimate that the actual cost of examining an application is about 20,000 yen. The remaining 180,000 yen is extra, and that amount is charged separately for every family member. A family must demonstrate that it has more money because it has more members, and then surrender more of that money for the exact same reason. If the guideline changes are intended to recognize people who have stable lives in Japan, the government should consider whether multiplying the fee by every spouse and child supports that objective. Or does it make it more difficult for families being asked to prove it? A tourist visiting for 5 days, an illegal overstayer, an overseas property investor, and a family that has lived and paid taxes in Japan for 10 years may all be described using what word? If you said foreigner, you are correct. In Japanese, 外国人. But they are not the same population and they do not create the same problems, and controlling one of them may do absolutely nothing to control the others. This video is not asking whether Japan has the authority to regulate immigration. It obviously does. The question is whether the proposed permanent residence policies addresses the people and the behavior actually causing the problems Japanese citizens want fixed. So what are those problems? Overtourism and bad tourist behavior, crime, overseas buyers purchasing Japanese property, foreign residents who do not pay taxes or insurance premiums, and concern that some newcomers do not understand Japanese rules or cultures. These concerns deserve serious answers, but tourists, criminals, property investors, and long-term residents should not all be grouped together as foreigners. Overtourism may be the most visible source of anger. People do not experience it as a national statistic. They experience a crowded bus, blocked street, noise pollution, trespassing, and ignored rules every day. That frustration is real. But tourists are not permanent residence applicants. Making PR harder for someone who has lived and worked in Japan for years will not make Kyoto less crowded. A 5-year visa requirement will not stop a tourist from trespassing, and a 200,000 yen PR fee will not teach a short-term visitor how to behave on public transportation. When problems caused by visitors are answered with stricter rules for residents, the behavior continues, but the cost unjustly falls on a different group. Overtourism requires tourism policy. National and local governments must work to protect the communities affected by tourism. If the government promotes tourism without providing equally strong protections, Japanese residents have a good reason to question whether tourism revenue is being placed above their daily lives or not. That anger should be directed at failures in tourism policy, not transferred onto long-term residents. Permanent residence policy cannot replace tourism management. Another major concern is the belief that foreigners use healthcare and other public services without paying for them. But legal foreign residents are required to join public health insurance and make regular payments. We contribute under the exact same rules as everyone else. We are helping to fund a shared system, not receiving services for free. The government's own data also does not show foreigners placing a huge burden on healthcare. Foreign residents make up about 4% of the national health insurance members, but only 1.39% of total medical spending. The reason is simple. Foreign residents are younger on average, and younger people generally need less healthcare. Of course, anyone who refuses to pay should be held responsible, but that individual problem should not be turned into a general claim that foreign residents do not contribute. I guess what I want to say last is Japan has legitimate reasons to protect public safety, trust, and culture, but this is not a choice between being for foreigners or against foreigners. Japan should confront misconduct firmly, but effective policy begins by identifying who is actually causing each problem. Japan can be both firm and fair by matching each problem with the correct policy and ensuring that the burden is appropriate. I just ask that everyone who listened to this video and made it this far, please examine the official proposal and submit your own opinion to the government before the September deadline. Thank you. ちょっと最後で 伝えたいことがあると思います。今からどんな日本を作りたいと思いますか？それは一番大事な質問じゃないですか。平等で安全、いい日本を作るために皆さんいっぱい考えて頑張りましょう。